Hi there, thanks for joining. There are no rules in painting, and also there are a lot of different ways that you can start your painting, that you can build your painting. So today I want to show you a sort of color wash approach in the first layer. Now, as you see, I have prepared a sketch and I did it on a white canvas this time. Normally I prefer painting on a gray canvas, then I add some little bit of black paint to my white gesso to make the gesso gray, and then I start painting on a gray canvas. But this time I thought it would be fun to show you that you can approach starting the painting in many different ways. So that's why I show it, because sometimes the problem with watching videos can be that you might think that everything has to be done always in the same manner and with all kind of rules, but these rules don't exist. I make these videos to show different things that you can try out yourself, and of course you're free to choose whatever you like most. Which approach do you like most? Which materials do you like most yourself? But in the learning process, it's always good to try different things, because otherwise how would you know what you would like, what you prefer? First, let me clean the palette. I've forgotten that completely, and that's the price you pay if you're lazy after a painting session. Then the paint dries. But what I want to show you today is how you can build a painting with the first layer that is transparent. So for that I use painting medium, and it's just regular painting medium. You can choose between glossy or matte or whatever you like, but I prefer matte. It's just the way the acrylics dry themselves. And if I want to have a glossy painting, I just use glossy varnish in the end. But that's a whole different story. So I have painting medium, I need paper towels. Where are they? Everything is always so neat and tidy in here. So in that sense, this isn't a regular painting tutorial or something like that. It's just to show you a technique or a method that you can use. We're all here to learn. So I'm gonna pre-mix some colors. So now I put some painting medium on my palette, you see, like this. And the way you use it is just the same as you would use water to dilute your paint. If I would use water to dilute the paint, then I also dilute the glue that is in the acrylic paint. Paint consists of binder and of pigments, and due to the binder the pigments stick to the canvas and won't fall off. And if you dilute it too much with water, then you risk that your painting gets damaged. With medium you don't have that problem. And okay, it looks milky, but it dries completely transparent. So don't be scared to just use it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take a little bit of this medium, and let me first start with the dark color. And I mix a little bit of that medium through that dark color. But I know that these pigments that I've used here, burnt umber and ultramarine blue, are quite transparent themselves. So I don't have to add too much of this medium. But one thing you can always do is, because when you add medium you don't know how transparent it becomes. You can test it on a certain spot on a piece of paper, but I will show you on this canvas now. But you see, it's quite transparent because I can see the previous layer, the sketch, shines through quite well. So this is transparent enough for me to say, okay, I will use this on this lady. So, and I grab a big brush just to block in kind of the shape, you see? And of course, later on I want to add, in the next layers, I want to add lighter parts, darker parts, but at this stage I don't mind that. I won't be bothered with all the details. I just add this dark color, but you see the nice thing of this is that you see your sketch shine through. So you have these landmarks still on your canvas, even though you're already starting to block colors. See how evenly spread the pigments are in the paint. Now, when I would use water to dilute the paint, I grab a little bit of paint over here and I'm gonna dilute it with water, see, like this. So that makes the paint runny as well. But then, look at this, I can do it over here, but I have to get rid of it shortly. But you see what happens? The pigments are less evenly spread than in the part with the medium. They run uncontrolled in the paint over the canvas. Now I quickly wipe it away because, of course, I don't want this color there. So whenever paint is still wet and the previous layer is dry, the sketch in this case, you can just wipe it off with a moist piece of cloth. Now I'm heading over to the next color, so this one. That's gonna be quite a big area I want to cover with that paint. I'll take a little bit of that paint over here, it's easier to mix, I think. So I want a little bit more, a bigger amount, and I'm gonna make it quite transparent. You see, it gets really runny, the paint, really fluid because of the medium, so it has a little bit of the same effect as water, but the benefit again is that I can easily control the pigments. They are evenly spread in this medium. And that's a whole different story than when you would use water. Cannot seem to find a big brush, but I have this house painting brush, is also great for stuff like this. So I just roughly indicate the areas that I want to use this color. And you just see the sketch shining through. It's just great here. I don't have to mind where I put it, and so this way I just get a kind of a base layer color, and at a later stage I can just alter it just the way I like. And it also helps, I would almost forget to say that, but it helps to give your painting a sort of uniform look. If you have a base layer that covers the whole canvas. You see, so it's a kind of sketching with a transparent color. I think it's fun to do. Most of the times this isn't my personal favorite way to start a painting, but sometimes I do like it. And another thing that helps to make a coherent picture is using a big brush, so that you don't start at the beginning right away with all those tiny details. It's great to do tiny details, you're free to do that, always of course, but at the beginning we don't need all those details. Hope the dentist wasn't watching. If I would want to make it a little bit darker over here, I can use the same paint, this color, with less medium, of course. So I'll just show you, to show you what the possibilities are, of course. So you see, then it gets slightly darker, of course. It's still transparent. You see, so you can play with the amount of transparency. And also, if when this layer is dry, and you go over it again with a new layer of the same transparent paint. So this is the same paint I used for this layer, but now I use that same paint again, and of course the second time that I go over it, you see, it gets less transparent at that spot where I go over it for the second time. So then you're kind of layering transparent layers. So that's another thing you can use. I just want to show the possibilities with these transparent paints. So that's more watercolor-like, okay? So that's the idea. But now I head over to this color. Oh, I had put it already over there. So there you go, quite a lot of medium again. And again, if you want to test how transparent it is, just use a piece of paper, so I can show you. You see, here I have a test paper with written text on it, and if I go over it, I see, it's transparent like this. It's good. And if you think it's too transparent, then you add more paint. And if you think it's not transparent enough, then you add more medium. But there we go again. I'll go over here. Oh, now I'm using a rather small brush, but never mind. I just want to show the process. I think I can use this color here on the bottom, or maybe a little bit of that dark color mixed with this for the cast shadow underneath the woman here. So I just add that a little bit like this. And then I go over to another color, this one, for the areas over here. So I'm going to use this over here, add a lot of medium. And I don't test it because I don't mind that much. It's just to show you how it works. I don't mind, to be honest, how transparent or not transparent it is. So there we go, around here. Oh, you see, this is quite transparent. So I said I don't mind how transparent it is, but this I do mind. It is a little bit too much. So I just add more paint. So there you have a good example. I don't like the amount of opaqueness, so I add of transparency. So I add more paint to make it less transparent. You see? So there we go. And of course, I should have tested it on a piece of paper, but I was too lazy. So you see, it's nice to go on top of the previous layers. That doesn't matter. You can paint very freely. Huh? You see, like that. Because it is transparent, all the information that was there on your painting, on your sketch or whatever, is still there. So that's no problem at all. Oh, I will show you in a minute. We can easily add a little bit of shadows at the steps of the stairs by adding a second layer. But let us first add this first layer. First, just trying to cover the whole canvas as quickly as possible. Mix a little bit of this brownish color through this mixture. And there we go. Now, and of course, we are human. Most of us. So one day I like sketching more, and other days I like building the first color layers of a painting, and at other times I'm more in a mood for detailed work. So sometimes it's also a good idea to work on several paintings at the same time, if you like that. But I have to say, most of the times I prefer working on one painting at a time, but that's just the way I am. I just like starting a painting and take it straight away to the end. Of course, it can be over multiple sessions, but I like when I put a painting away for too long, I lose the connection with it a little bit. So then I don't like continuing with it. Now the ceiling, I just use a little bit more of this darker color. And now I can go and play a little bit with the light and dark. So I make a division. This is a little bit lighter, darker, sorry, than the rest. And I just take everything that I see, I join it all together like this. This thing, it's over there, like this. And of course, when it's still wet, you can also work wet and wet. So if I want to add a little bit of white, getting a lot lighter, so I just add that in a little bit, no problem. And here this is very bright light, but so these lights, because they have to be so bright, I just cover with titanium white. So, and they contain a little bit more color than only titanium white, but let me just put in a color so that I've been all over the canvas with a first layer of color. So, and I already said that if you want to add a little bit of shadow already to the steps, for instance, of course you can do that. So if I add a second layer of this gray color, and it also contains, how you say, medium still, so, but you see you get a nice soft kind of shadowy color. So, and again, in later layers we can adjust the color. It's no problem, but it's just a nice way to build your painting. Now, all in all, this is dry now. So let me show you another fun thing, because still it is a little bit light. And why not put another layer on top of it? And you'll see that you will see these shadow lines shine through then again. So look at this. You see? Now it gets darker in the hole, but I think I want to make it more green as well. So I add a little bit more of yellow. And a slight touch of ultramarine blue. So there you go. So slightly more green. See, there we go again. So isn't that a fun way to build a painting? I think it's fun. So all the time you don't have to mind the sketch, the things that you want to keep, to preserve. You can just go on over it with a new layer again. And you can do it like this as well, of course, because whatever you do, it doesn't matter. So now it's slightly darker because it's the second layer, and also I've added a little bit more color. But the same goes for the woman itself. You see, the paint is over here. I can add a little bit of medium again. Add some medium to that dark paint again. Same goes for the dark layer. Look, I can just add a second layer of that dark paint. And now I can start to make differences in light and dark already a little bit. I paint around this part, so I preserve that part a little bit, so that that part stays a little bit lighter. And here again, here at her back, a darker part over here, the part that's in shadow, over here a little bit, but this I preserve. So then already you get a little bit of 3 dimensions, because you're working with light and shadow already in that case. So there you go. And then you leave it to dry and you start painting on top of it. And as always, when you start a painting, you get these ugly faces. Now, well, this is a kind of an ugly face, but still, it's the beginning of the painting, and you can build on top of it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.